Housing is a human right, but in many cases, it's not treated that way. In Montreal, we've seen an increase in forced evictions, rapidly rising rents, and necessary repairs left uncompleted, leaving tenants inside units while they're falling apart. But what happens when tenants try to fight back?
Some landlord cutting heating, cutting water, entering in their apartment without them, giving the right to. Some tenants have noticed that sometimes landlords stealing their mail. So it goes to a really wide range.
This issue is so prevalent that most of the tenants we come across at least have one issue where they've experienced intimidation tactics from their landlord.
Some landlords even practice illegal activity during the signing of the lease. There's a section in your lease that provides space for the landlord to write the previous rent price, but often this section is left blank, leaving tenants to be unaware of just how much their landlord raised the rent in between new tenants.
Not all hope is lost for tenants. Local 514 spoke with a tenant who took her landlord to court and won over violations.
His thing was like, oh, I raised the rent because I renovated the place, but it was not renovated because we knew the previous tenants. We had that advantage of like knowing what the place was like before. So we filed for rent fixation. We go to court and our landlord does not show up. We won the case just by like default, but we also pulled up to the courtroom with like evidence of times that we've like messaged him and he's never returned our like text calls or emails. We also like pulled up a lot of things that are wrong with the apartment. The judge was like, because he owes you the difference between how much you were paying and how much what the previous tenants were paying for the entire time that you've been living there, which is years. We got to live there rent free. November of 2021 to May of 2022. We were living there rent free, and then we got it reduced by $600. We got it reduced.
The Tribunal Administratif du Logement, Quebec's rental board, recommended a rent increase of 2.3% this year. But some landlords are using tactics to go beyond the recommended increase. Legally, landlords can raise the rent to any price they want at the start of a new lease. But some landlords are evicting people to make this happen and make more money. In Quebec, landlords can legally evict people on the premise of a renovation. The term has been coined a renoviction, but in some cases, after a tenant leaves, the renovation is never conducted. Lack of assessment over whether renovictions are lawful or not is contributing to a phenomenon of illegal renovictions in Montreal.
Unlawful eviction are more frequent than lawful eviction. It is really used and abused in the context of our housing crisis by landlords.
So who should be assessing whether a renoviction is lawful or not?
It should be matters that should be put in the hands of the Tribunal Administratif du Logement.
From 2020 to 2021, renovictions increased in Montreal by 46%. In the TAL's 2022 report, they said that the wait time for a tenant to have their issue resolved decreased from 5.1 months to 3.9 months. But waiting an average of 4 months for support can cause tenants to lose hope.
These realities exist because it's possible for landlords to bypass the laws that are protecting tenants' rights.
There's better laws that needs to be put in place.
It shouldn't be the responsibility of the tenant to enforce the laws that the provincial government has passed. It should be impossible for landlords to abuse tenants' rights.
Lack of affordable housing, rising rents, and increased rent evictions in Montreal all contribute to the desperation of tenants, allowing them to accept illegal practices by landlords. As a result, landlords are holding growing power over tenants.
Our best possibility is to fight so social housing exists so that people don't have to live this types of situations. So by living in a co-op and non-profit organization, housing people and not having this mission of profit. We need to fight for having more social housing units to protect people from these types of behaviors.
Talk to your neighbors. It is so like helpful to just like talk to the same people who live in your building. That's how I got like my success story of like getting free rent and rent reduced, is because like my upstairs neighbor like came and chatted with us. And like now I do the same. Anytime there's someone new in my building, I go and I talk to them and I'm like, this is the deal. He sucks. Like, we're here. Let me add you to on Facebook. Let me add you to the group chat. Like, and I like tell I tell a lot of people my story, try to read up and learn what your rights are, because the more you know, the more you can be well informed in making these decisions on how to go about conflict with your landlord.
Have you faced intimidation tactics by your landlord? Let us know below in the comments.